There you go.
Hello.
I need that.
We are back again. Welcome to Ask the Unicorn. I'm Ahura Z, and this is my trusty sidekick and life mate, Kazi.
Oh, don't say life mate.
You're my daughter.
That's not what a life mate is.
Oh, be quiet.
So wrong.
And we are back again after a brief hiatus. And welcome to Ask the Unicorn. Now, as you all know, I will answer any type of question pertaining to the metaphysical, the spiritual, the paranormal, and the mystical. However, there are two types of questions that I do not answer, and that is whether or not someone's going to die or whether or not someone is cheating on someone. If you want to know the answer to those things, you should deal with the person you're asking about. Okay? Now, I'm hoping for a pretty good show this evening. We've been away for a bit, taking care of other things. As you all know, we have opened up Daily Bread Bakery, and that is going fine. And we've been working on Falcare, the movie, and that is coming along nicely. We decided to turn it into a series so that you could all enjoy it over a period of time, because I'm not the type of person that just likes to do a one-time event. I like to create worlds, so I'm creating a world of Falcare. Now, before I get into the show, I'd like to give a shout out to many of my independent filmmaker friends out there, people such as Seth Roberts and Alan Dillingham and Bill McLean and people like that, and all of the wonderful actors that there are in New England that are part of the New England Film Association or Film Conglomeration. So hello, everybody, and we're back again. Now, if you have some mystical concerns that you would like to talk about, I'd be more than willing to talk about them. There are some things that are happening with our Earth. As you all know, this is the third day of spring. Spring being the 20th. We're now on the 22nd. What's she doing? Get that away from her.
No.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay, and that, along with some other things such as a comet whizzing by Earth, and some of the things that are happening in our country and abroad, the Earth is in the middle of a vibration change, and it's a rather quick vibration change and rather drastic, and I saw it a lot from it just the other day, and I made a brief announcement on Facebook, so you're all welcome to ask me questions about such things on the show tonight. If you would like to ask any question about the mystical, the paranormal, the metaphysical, and the spiritual, give us a call you can either give us a call at area code 207-347-5686, or you can call us at www.asktheunicorn.com. And just, join us in the chat room and type your questions. Kazi will field them, and I will answer them.
Scenario will field them.
Oh, Scenario will fill them. Well, you have the computer right here, so you can see them as well, I imagine. So, without further ado, the unicorn is in. What are your questions, your thoughts, your feelings? Do we have anything?
We have a few questions a question from Vasu and one from Tavari.
Hi.
Vasu says, "Hi Ahura, a belated happy birthday. I hope you have a great year ahead." Her question is, she says, "My question is, when we sleep, do you think we access some other dimension? And if so, what is the nature of this dimension?"
Well, when you sleep, when you're sleeping and you're dreaming, you're obviously accessing another dimension or several dimensions. From my understanding, the dream dimension is actually the 8th dimension, because that's a very transformative, where all of your dreams, your nightmares, etc. happen. But I think also that it's just a nexus to other places. Now, you're multi-dimensional beings. We all are. Okay, we have all types of existences, and every once in a while, those existences some of them kind of conglomerate to form our present lifestyle or another lifestyle that we're living or something. It actually can happen to help us solve a problem or to make something happen that needs to happen. But the nature of them is lucid. It's just the the best way to put it. They can change at any moment in time. Your dreams are real. They're not just what science likes to call mind stuff. Your dreams are meant to either cause something to happen, to make something to happen, not really cause it, but to give you the way to cause something to happen, to avoid something happening, give you a heads up about something coming so you can avoid it, or to clear something out. They always give you a definition. They give you something. You may not be able to necessarily always associate it, but there are people who are talented in the way of associating what the symbologies in your dreams are and how they'll affect your physical life, or whether or not they'll affect your physical life. Now, there's a lot of things that people really go and believe in, that you'll see on social media, and you'll see just in entertainment fields at large, that usually get dream interpretation so wrong it's pitiful. If you're going to learn to interpret dreams, or if you want to interpret dreams, you do have to learn. And if you're going to learn, go to someone that is not going to tell you stuff that if you have sex with a person in your dreams, it means you're supposed to have sex with that person in reality. Because 9.5 times out of 10, that is not what it means. It merely means that there's a symbology that person is fulfilling in your mind, or perhaps there's something that needs to merge within yourself. But even then, that's only one definition. There are thousands of different definitions depending upon what color you were wearing, what you were wearing, who you were with, what time of day it was, whether or not you ate something in the dream, whether or not you did, whether someone was chasing you, whether you were chasing someone, whether you were tall, whether you were short, etc., etc., etc. So you can't just go by one single definition of a dream. Now, so make sure you're dealing with someone who's grounded enough to tell you what the dream means and actually gives it some thought, and doesn't have to consult a book and say, well, this book says that this is what this means, or they don't have to consult the bones or a Ouija board, because those are not valid ways to deal with anything. And if someone has to consult a Ouija board, my suggestion to you all is that you run for the hills and stay away from that person. But if you're going to learn about dreams and really learn about dreams, there's not much difference between your dreams and imagination. It's just that your physical body is unconscious. Therefore, you're not having to deal with all of the mind chatter that the conscious mind decides to throw out there to dissuade you. They used to call that daydreaming when a person exercised their imagination. But I would submit to you that your daydreams are every bit as valid as your sleeping dreams. You just have to know how to read them and know whether or not they actually mean something. Sometimes it is just a matter of clearing. You had a bad day at work, so you dreamt about things being bad all day about your work, and these people that were at your job were also with you when you were having a bad time. That's obviously clearing. But there may be something in there that will help you get to the next stage, or help you to not have another bad day. So the nature of them is always positive. But the eighth dimension, if you want a specific answer. But remember, you can't really separate the dimensions. So if I tell you the eighth dimension, you're also using the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh dimension and beyond those. It's just like that. Hope that helps you. Thanks.
She has a second question. She
Sure.
said, I've been looking up a lot of research on something called old hag syndrome, where lots of people claim to be attacked by an old lady in their dreams. What do you think is happening here? These people are really scared of their dreams.
Well, first off, there's no such thing as old hag syndrome. That's something some psychologists decided to pin on it. You have to kind of stay away from pinning labels on something as a syndrome. There's no such thing as a syndrome when it comes to metaphysics. The person is actually seeing something, and many times it will manifest as an old hag. But remember this, if you really want to be technical about it, it used to be that it depended on what that old hag was doing to give it validity. And perhaps they were seeing themselves, or seeing something that is overshadowing their life. And if many people are seeing it, that means that it's kind of a global event, and maybe something is trying to reach them to either warn them or to show them that there's a consciousness that is over most of the earth, that vibration would actually be affecting several people or affecting a lot of people all at the same time. Used to be, if a person saw an old hag, what they would say is that they saw a banshee, and that's usually a portent of death. But, you really have to not misread such things. It would be better if you were the person that actually saw, rather than to ask about something that someone calls a syndrome. It's kind of like asking about what they could like to call sleep paralysis. It's not a paralysis. There's an actual astral event that is happening. And of course, science likes to take credit for things that it has absolutely no clue about. So they'll label something. Well, it's sleep paralysis because your consciousness has not rejoined with your body, and therefore you can't move. But if that would actually be the truth, then science might have to take this into consideration. The fact that they would admit that there is a consciousness within the body that can separate at will means that there's a paranormal event, but they're not going to say that to you. Okay, so what they're just going to call it is sleep paralysis. Your mind is active, but your body is not, which is absolutely absurd, because no one that has suffered an episode of what they call sleep paralysis has ever truly been asleep. Well, it's the same with this, what they call old hag syndrome. It could have just as well been the same effect with a young person, or maybe they saw a dog that gave them the same effect. We also base a lot of things that we call a paranormal or traumatic paranormal event because someone else sees something. So when we hear about it, a lot of times we'll cause an association with ourselves. Someone's like being psychosomatic behavior, showing psychosomatic behavior, which is quite common. But this particular thing, there may be an astral being that is visiting many people. And if that be the case, I'd be rather concerned. So it's not a syndrome. It's a reality. It's just a reality that people are not used to. That would basically mean that there's something in their lives that needs to be either rejuvenated or something in their lives that is old and done and finished that they need to let go of. So you can go on researching, but I think that's what it is. Hope that helps you.
Next question is from Becca.
Hello, Becca.
She says, since my daughter's second birthday, the number 2 has been popping up into my head all the time. Actually, what pops up is 2222. I've been paying attention. There are many significant 2s going on, some good, some bad, some not sure. I thought your show starting up again on the 22nd may fit in somehow. I'm not sure what I'm asking. I think I need to come see you.
Probably. 2, if you're going to the 22nd, then you're talking about grounding. But of course, you've already qualified. Part of what you're dealing with is the fact that your daughter is just turned 2 years old. So that's going to be a predominant thing in your consciousness. But also, you have always dealt with the number 2.
I think she's older than 2.
No.
I think.
Is it since then?
Sunday. Sunday's
It's
older.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday's older than 2.
She says, since my daughter's.
Okay. So
Sunday's older than 2.
if you're dealing with that, I still say the same thing. I still say that it had to do with Sunday being 2, and it just stuck. But you've always dealt with 2. We've discussed that before. I think you do need to come see me. I think that you also need to think about grounding yourself, because obviously you're not. It's just what I think. Hope that helps you, and I'll look forward to seeing you when you can. Yeah.
That's it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Wow. Light on questions this evening. That's okay.
Light on viewers.
Well, that's not something that you need to say.
First show.
Inappropriate.
Dance battle comedy.
Whatever. All right. So I've told you guys about vibration changing, and I'm telling you, I heard that there was an event that took place over in Brussels, which is in Belgium, which I kind of saw, but I didn't want to make people all alarmed, so I just made a general announcement on Facebook that you should probably pay attention. But I will say things to you like this. I think that it's time for you guys to start doing things like saving water, conserving things, or getting provisions, gathering provisions, making sure that you have things like survival kits, making sure that you have a network of people that you know that you can depend on in the event of a crisis. And I think that it's very, very important for you all to be serious about it. Now, I know that some of you are a little challenged with what's going on with the elections, but I'm going to tell you that those are just a distraction to keep you from seeing what is really going on around. There's some plans below what's going on that we all need to know about. And I suggest that you all educate yourself, and I suggest that you remain alert and aware. Now, this is on a physical level. We'll get to the spiritual point in just a second. But I think that this whole thing with Trump and how everybody feels about Trump and everyone feels about Hillary and Bernie, those are all distractions. They're just distractions from the real issue. The real issue is that we're kind of becoming like this country in a bubble. Okay, and unfortunately, it's causing the rest of the world to be like a bubble. Like, you know, the greatest thing to do is to hide things that are actually going on from people. Like, how many of you actually knew that there's a giant comet that's whizzing by us? How many of you actually knew that? And being very, very close, it's because I told you.
No, I told you.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
I told you weeks ago.
I told you the date.
No. And how many of you actually know that there have been things that have passed close to our Earth many, many times? And how many of you actually know what's going on? In fact, how many of you actually heard about Brussels? How many of you actually heard about it? Now, this is what I think. I think that there are going to be a rash of events that happen, and that people are going to start blaming them on Muslims just because it's really convenient to do.
Guess who's already pointing fingers?
Yeah. See?
Guess who?
Now, when a person like that says something, I think that he has something to do with it. That's just my thoughts. But a person who is a multi-billionaire can very well pay people to do things. I'm just saying, it's not an accusation. It's just my thoughts, which also means that, which also shows me that I know that our government, our Justice Department knows that what Donald Trump is doing is illegal. They know that it is. First off, inciting a riot is illegal. Condoning and telling people or even suggesting that someone do something to someone else is illegal. That is an accessory type of an event. If something happens to a person, he's an accessory to that crime. That's the law. That's the way that it is. You can't do that. You can't tell someone. You cannot instigate anyone to violence. You cannot do that. That is the law. You can't. So I know that they know what he's doing, and they're deliberately letting him get away with it. They're letting him get away with it because it will incite violence, and it will incite violence on both sides. It will incite violence on both sides to the degree that they will have to come out and declare things being civil unrest, and they'll have to impose some sort of martial law, which will cause trouble even further. And I think it's insidious. I think it's rude. I think, first of all, that anyone that decides to subvert the president should be arrested on subversion charges. Now, those are the things that I think. Keep that in mind. It's just what I think. I think that this has all been fixed so that there is a general animosity against the Muslims again.
Supposedly ISIS already claimed responsibility for it.
Yeah.
Come on.
We did it.
We did it.
Nobody did. No one does that.
This guy.
No
yeah,
one
I
does
did
it.
that to you. Yeah.
But
Who does that?
But that's okay. It's just a ruse. And anyone who doesn't see it as a ruse is usually blind or just denying the truth. Now, we have to get to a point as a people where we decide that we are not going to buy into hate, and we're not going to buy into evil. We're not going to buy into violence, and we're not going to buy into ignorance. Okay? You can't sit up and bully people and then call someone else the bully. sit up and call people all kinds of names and then say, this person said very terrible things about me. They're just disgusting. They're disgusting, not me. They're disgusting. You can't do that. Yeah, and be called the same person. Honestly speaking, I think that Donald Trump is mentally retarded. I think he's mentally ill. And the guy can't even control his own face. Just thought. I think that it would behoove all of us, especially all of us that are gifted in some way, shape, or form, to demand that from ourselves and from others that they be willing to drop hateful things, that they be willing to drop hateful people, that they be willing to drop hateful concepts, that anyone who is hateful, stay away from them, and they stay away from people who are hateful. I can tell you this. I can tell you that the earth is tired. She will begin to shake people off, and she's already starting. She's sick of us fighting. We need to get to a point where we understand that this is the year 2016. This is not the year one. We do not live in caves anymore, except for us that like video games. We do not carry around big clubs. And you women, you people need to seriously listen. You women need to talk to other women and tell them to stop being so stupid, to vote for someone, to even consider having someone that has insulted women the way that this man has insulted women is absolutely absurd. To even consider that is a general insult to womanhood. In fact, it would be beautiful if we didn't have to deal with politics altogether. I'm all for anarchy myself, but we live in a government and we kind of have to respect that. But really, you sisters need to talk to your sisters, okay? Because some of you people are like loony. Seriously. You accept such garbage and then call that okay, I don't get it. I don't even want to get it. Now, let's jump up into the spiritual. What we have here is a rift. Remember I talked to you guys earlier or many moons ago about the dimensional curtains being very thin. Well, guess what? There has been a rip. There have been several rips, and these rips have bleeded through some things that are not necessarily pleasant. And there you will begin to see them. You will see them big time. But you cannot say I did not tell you.
We have another question.
Sure.
From Vasu. She says, have you ever had an experience with a shadow person? And if yes, what was it like?
I asked them what they were doing there and why. And then I closed what needed to be closed. Now, if you want to know what other people have felt, I myself, I do what's necessary. It's just a thing. Now, when I was younger, I went through a lot of anxiety and fear over the situation. Shadow people is not something real. These are they're not something recent. They're very, very real, and they've been around for a long time. If you encounter a shadow person, the last thing that you should do is panic. Because if you panic, what happens is you wind up losing energy to that being, or that being may be losing energy to you. Remember, if it's dealing with a shadow, you're dealing with something that is also dimensionally corporeal. Okay, which basically means that they're every bit as solid as you are, just in their dimension. And they may be seeing you as the shadow person. From my own experience, there's a little anxiety, but then I understand things. The way that the universe makes me, I understand things the moment that I see them. So I dealt with it. And then if I felt like that particular thing needed to be removed from my vision, then I deal with it. What you should do is the moment that you see a shadow person, think about what it is that you're seeing. Think about what it is that you're experiencing. Realizing that that is a living being too. Then you need to determine the nature of that being. You're going to determine the nature of that being as benevolent or non-benevolent. You need to deal accordingly. If you're dealing with something that is non-benevolent, then you probably need to close that rift as soon as possible. There are such prayers that will do that. You have such exercises to do that. At all costs, if you want to get rid of something like that, make your physicality be primary. Concentrate on the physicality of your life. There are so many ways to do that. Get up, do something physical. Sink your concentration into that physical thing. You're not ignoring it. You're merely giving more validity to the physical and less to the esoteric, which all of us have the right to do. It doesn't mean that you're going to lose anything. It merely means perhaps you're not ready to face that just then. Now, Hollywood has made a lot of you very, very afraid of shadow people and very, very afraid of seeing anything. So the moment you do see something, that show comes into your mind. It's like I have a young student that is deathly afraid of sharks.
Mm-hmm. Not naming anybody.
But so I told her that a land shark was going to get her, and she actually believes that. So.
Lasso wants to know what did they say to the shadow person?
They didn't say anything. They just looked. But I remembered that they were in another dimension. They just stood there. They didn't say, "I am here for you," or anything like that. They usually don't. As a matter of fact, they may act out something. And this person just walked back and forth, looking at me. I looked at them. I didn't get afraid.
I see that all the time.
Yeah, they happen all the time.
Happen all the time.
Drive down a stretch of a highway. You'll see plenty of them. Okay? Be in a place where you can actually concentrate on those things that you don't see. Close your eyes for a while. Those shadow sounds that you see, that you hear, they're usually associated with a being. All of the voices that you hear at night when you're about to settle down for a good rest, those are people. They're not just your imagination. They're actually people remembering that so many billions of people have been here long before you and I. And some of them are still around. They're just in a different dimensional reality. So there are those that did talk before, though, that I've encountered. One person wanted me to know something and asked me if I knew where their crow was. And I said, crow. So it had me looking for crows for the next week, Because they're like, I found plenty of crows.
Did you find their crow?
No. I think this person was crow, though, because you have to remember, a lot of times they may say something. They may say something like, have you seen my crow? And that really means I'm crow. I'm crow. Okay. And I think I added it up to that. Because the person would run in front of my car. And I'm going, where are you taking me? And then I actually saw the person turn into a crow. So happens. Mm-hmm. This was in Seattle. Or Tacoma, excuse me. So, and I think he was lost.
There was a little boy by the apple tree.
Oh, yeah?
Shadow boy. He said, what are you doing? Planting. He was planting. Yeah. Okay.
Remember, those beings that you call shadow beings are every bit as corporeal as we are. That means that they can talk to you, too, if they have something to say. But it's a pretty good chance that they think you're the shadow being. Pretty good chance. So try not to allow yourself to be afraid of such things. I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of shadow beings, but they're not going to be so shadowed, quite so shadowed. I think that there are some events that are happening celestially that are going to bring us very, very close to other people. You see, we don't just live in a universe that is all physical. We live in a universe that is physical yet dimensionally physical simultaneously, which means that there's so many different existences that are happening at the same time as ours, and the light just happens to hit one of them and it can illumine them, even if just for a moment it can illumine them so that you're able to see them and then pass and then you can't see them anymore. Or maybe that light may decide to just stop on that so that you can see it, and it may decide to give you an opportunity. I mean, think about it. What if you did step to where you could actually walk through to a different dimension? Would you? I would. There's no guarantee that it would be pleasant, but all the same, at least it would be an experience. You know. So this is why I say pay attention. There are going to be things that are seen that no one will understand. Not just these physical crap, you know, war and war and war and find a way to start a war. This war is happening. We don't like these people, so we're going to cause a war. Oh, I want to lock these people out. I'm going to build a huge wall. It's going to be a great wall, a great wall, and a wall. And the wall just got higher. That's ridiculous, but all the same. It's not all about that stuff. It's about some other things. There may be openings to see what people have only seen in their imagination. And when I say may, I don't mean a big may. I mean very credible, a very, very, very possible may. Look at everything. There are people here that don't, well, I can't say that. Yeah, there are people here that are from other places. I can't say they don't belong here because they belong wherever they want to be in the universe, because the universe belongs to all of us. But there are people here that are new people. Yeah, I'll put it that way. Mind who you speak to. In fact, you may be speaking to someone that you've spoken to before that is entirely different, and they're just going through a cellular remembrance. There are tons of walk-ins that have just recently decided to drop in. So if you have people that are all of a sudden acting and being very, very different, there's a pretty good chance they're one of those walk-ins. But remember this, it's not like some alien being decided to jump in and take their body. That's not what a walk-in is. It's not some far disassociated being that says, oh, I'm taking pity on this poor soul, so I'm going to bust into their consciousness. That's not how it is. It's usually you at another stage of your evolution, dimensionality, that just happened to be able to handle what needed to be handled here better than the other person or you. So, I hope that kind of helps you out there, Vasu.
She says, I feel so, but I don't think we are ready for it.
You'll have to be ready for it. You will have to be ready for it. So if you think that you are not ready, do what you need to do in order to be ready for it. Because in fact, it's not going to give you a choice. You're going to have to be ready for it. We all are. See, here's the thing about heaven. And the thing about nirvana, and the thing about all of these wonderful places, they are not exclusive. But being in them is a choice. It is a choice. So no, there's no contest who's the goodest. Who's the best? Yeah, the goodest. Who's the goodest? Only the good ones will get into heaven. Well, think about this earth. Think about our society. Think about how we all are. Think about what we go through on a daily basis. Who among us can say that we're clean, safe children? Who among us can say that we have never done something that we didn't feel good about? Our society forces us to do such things. The fact that there's always a chance that a person can go hungry or homeless. The fact that there's crime. The fact that there's so many debates on whether or not to feed a homeless person, or whether or not to take pity on someone, or whether or not to move this animal out of the road, or whether or not just to be kind to your fellow man. We live in a society and in a world that promotes unkindness, finds ways. And if there is no fight started, if there is no war started, there are people that go around and intentionally find ways to cause wars, find ways to start fights, find ways to cause dissension where there is no dissension. Now the dissension is not only between different races, now they're trying to cause dissension between the sexes. Women are better. Men are better. Oh, but women, but women, but women. Oh, but men, but men, but men. And now there's this rash of women going around accusing men of raping them, and it's proven false. And they come up and admit it because they got mad at them. Like, that's a thing? Seriously? What? That's a weapon? He really pissed me off. I'm going to decide that I'm going to accuse him of raping me.
No.
If that does happen, they find out that the woman lied, I think she should suffer the same penalty as a person who raped.
She should go to jail for life. I don't care.
Yeah,
40 years, no. She should just go for life. She's a rotten, dirty person. Rotten. Ugh.
She's a human. She's human. Most of us have been hurt. Most of us have, and those of us that weren't hurt are usually the ones that are hurting others until we grow out of it. So believe you me, heaven does not need to be exclusive, and we've all been duped by the different religions that have caused us to believe that heaven is for those that are pious, for those that have never sinned, for those that have kept the words. Heaven is for everybody. Hell is for everybody. We are the ones that decide what we're going to do. But when heaven comes, it's not up to us. When hell comes, it's not up to us. When the universe decides that you need to be evolved, you also need to see that we have all had the opportunity to evolve ourselves. We all get the opportunity to evolve. We all get the opportunity to grow. We all get the opportunity to live. And we all get the opportunity to be. It's just whether or not you decide to take it. We have bred such mistrust in our lives and in this world and in our country especially. We have bred such mistrust. Such distrust. It's amazing. A person can reach out their hand in sincerity, and we are taught to question every single doggone thing that person says and does. I myself have been called all kinds of devil worshiper, cult leader. I sacrifice cats.
Animals.
Yeah, I sacrifice animals. I brainwash people.
Right, Ling.
You know, so forth and so forth.
Right, Ling.
No, Ling isn't ripe yet.
Oh yes, we're
Sit down.
fattening her up.
Sit down. Don't mess with this. Sit down. Okay. You know, so, and there have been many other people that have reached out to help others that have been done the same. Yet, you have people that are shysters that are raking in the money because everyone goes to their gigantic monsoon of a church. This minister wanted $65 freaking million to buy a jet. And his congregation is getting it for I'm sorry, that's absurd. I tell you what, I don't need 65 million to do anything. If you give me 1 million, I will turn it into 65 million, and I'll be that person that walks down the street handing money out. So we have really messed ourselves up in our country. America, which is the greatest country on the face of this earth, has never stopped being great. So all of these people talking about, you'll make America great again. No. If he wants to make America great again, tell him this for me. Leave. Pack your bags. Go away. Leave the country. Never come back. Don't let anybody ever hear your voice here. We don't want to see your ugly face. We don't want to see your stupid suit. And we definitely don't want to see your hair. Okay? Just leave. Leave and take all of those people with you that think just like you. America will be great again. There has been opportunities for America to be great, and America has risen to those occasions without that person. So, America is supposed to be the greatest country. I don't mean Merca. I mean America. This place that is the home of the native. And all of these people that sit up and say to someone else to leave their country, leave. First family of this country. And that's a lot of different people. A lot of them that were killed, slaughtered, raped, pillaged, mostly raped, and then told that it was forced integration. Right now, even over in Hawaii, the natives are fighting for their rights and their lives because they've been raked over the coals and so many rights taken away from them. They defeated 30-meter telescope initiative, but then they're coming a different way and taking other rights from the natives. It's ridiculous. Now they can't just have their street conscience. Leave them alone. Because someone wants to go there and say, well, I want to go see the hula girls. Or maybe I'll meet a nice hula girl over there. Or a hula boy. Well, I don't think that. Just fire spinners. And I'm going to go eat some poi and steal the lava rocks and, do everything I possibly can to abuse that aloha spirit. And then claim it for my own and say that we are the ones that belong here and not the Hawaiians. Like I said, we've bred mistrust. We need to get past those things. We need to evolve. We need to evolve collectively. There is a huge wave that is coming. And that wave will be merciless. We need to prepare for it. So, any other questions?
Yes. Well, we have a shout out. Trisha is on and she says, "Hi guys."
Hi Trisha.
Good to see you all.
Good to see you. How you doing?
And she asked if we're going to be doing this weekly again.
Yes, we're going to be doing it weekly again.
Tabari asks, do you think we will see an end to the stranglehold what goes for science these days anytime soon?
No. It'll get worse and more absurd. Scientists, popular scientists, I'll put it that way. I've met some very respectable scientists, people that are actually pure scientists. But popular science is foolery. It's just hogwash. It's absurd. Science sticks its nose in every other avenue that it knows nothing about. Science should just stick to things like mixing Mentos with Coca-Cola. You know, especially astronomical science. It was just a guy, Tyson DeGrassi. Is that his name? Tyson DeGrassi. That guy's a douche.
Who are you talking about?
You know, the guy who decided that Pluto wasn't a planet.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
This guy?
Yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
DeGrassi Tyson.
Why did he decide?
He's just full of himself.
Why did he decide that, and why did they go with it?
Because.
Why did they agree to that?
Because that's what science does. They make up something, and then all of the scientists agree with the person that made it up so they can pass it through. And since we don't have the kind of money that they have, NASA can make up a video and say that it's real. They can make up anything.
Yeah.
Here, don't believe stuff that NASA says, okay? Don't. They're liars. They make up stuff, and they're doing something totally different from what they're telling you. Okay, just thought. I just got a message from Miriam. We'll be hearing from her soon.
She's in Amsterdam.
I know.
Netherlands.
I know.
Maven says hi. Hi, Maven.
Hi, Maven. How you doing? Welcome to Ask the Unicorn. So, I'm trying to, at some point in time, do something else. At some point in time, I'm going to try to arrange, and I'm already in the process of doing it, arranging an anime con. Because I tried going to PortCon and it sucked. And then I went to Animane, which was good, which was very, very good. And I'll go again this year. But I want my own con too, because I think that the cons are kind of lack something. So I want to do one. I want to do one over 3 days, and I want to have it be in a place that people can actually really get into it. I want to see if I can invite a cast from one of the more popular animes and have them all be here and have all types of events. So just letting you all know about it. If you want to know more about that, you can, write me on my Facebook page or if you have, other questions, because I'll also have psychic readers there too. And people from my family that are metaphysical people that will be there performing some of the things that they do as well. Are there any more questions at all?
Becca says, I recently wrote and asked about accidental astral projection. I feel like I have inadvertently entered a dark place on a few separate occasions. I'm okay and all turned out well in the end, but it created more questions. A being that seemed like a large man guided me out of danger. Was that an angel, a guide, a past loved one?
No, that was a guide, because you didn't belong there. Okay, and this goes along with what I was telling you earlier. You need grounding. Evidently, your grounding level has diminished to a degree that you've got a bunch of things that are causing you stress, and it's making you pop out of your body accidentally, which does happen. Not all astral episodes are because someone sits down and meditates on going into the astral realm because they are trying to escape. Which brings about that point again. You do not belong in the astral realm. You don't. I don't care what YouTube says. I don't care what that person that, sits around and waves their hands in the air all day says. I don't care. Okay, you do not belong in the astral realm. You belong in this realm. Okay, and when you sleep, you can do things like soul travel. You can do all of those things, but keep your astral body with your body. Do not leave your body if you can help it. Now, there are times that people just do it, like you were mentioning, but don't try to do it because you may bring something back with you, and then you'll have to come see me or a person like me. Now, for those of you that want to know more, understand that I do teach classes. I teach classes in metaphysics, paranormality, do paranormal development, but first I will cause you to develop yourself physically so that you can handle the vibration of paranormality. For those of you that are into the mysticism or into spellcraft, I teach that as well, and spiritual principle. And for those of you that are just getting into paranormal investigation, I teach that as well. So, however, I do not teach for free. And for those of you that like to believe that you're supposed to get all this knowledge and all of the other knowledge for free, sorry. Just the same as if you went to a doctor, you went to a lawyer, you went to a teacher, you went to another business. This is my job. That means I get paid for my job. However, when I'm done with you, you will know something. So if you'd like to know about these things, you can contact us at Unicorn Cove School of Metaphysics. That's www.unicorn-cove.com. Or you can also do www.asktheunicorn.com. Or you can contact me on Facebook, or you can give us a call at area code 207-347-5686.
I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
This next question is from Elise.
Hi, Elise.
Hi, Elise. How likely is a dream to come true if it is prophetic?
Very likely. It may not come true exactly the way that you see, but the general message of it will, if it is prophetic. But there's no way to know if it's prophetic until it starts to happen. Up until that point, you just kind of have to trust whether or not it is. You usually know.
Becca says, no, I'm not going to try it on purpose.
I wouldn't suggest it. Good.
That's
good.
it.
Okay, what time do we have?
8:01.
Oh my goodness. And just like that. I'd like to thank you all for joining us on this, on the first time back. Thank you all for attending, and I look forward to seeing you all for many, many other shows. Please tell your friends about it. Tell everybody that you possibly can, so that we can make this a great show and we can make improvements in the show and find ways to reach all of you and answer all of your questions. So until next week, be good with each other. Remember what I said, stay alert, keep watching. Don't be fooled by the distractions. Look through the illusion and don't be swayed into everybody else's anger, okay? State what you have to state, but don't be angry about it. Just state it, let it go. Prepare, collect water, collect seeds, collect your food. Learn things about dry packing food. Learn about canning. Learn about all of these wonderful things that we have access to. Collect things like honey, stuff like that. Make sure your water is good and collect it and hide it, okay? Put something aside. Do some survival kits. Okay, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that don't like guns and don't like, weapons of any kind, but you may need them. So get over yourself, pack something to protect the family. Okay, just keep it locked, keep it safe, keep all that, be educated about things, and make sure that you have networks. Get with those people that you have confidence in. Get with those people that have your back. Think of contingency plans. Okay, don't be sheep. Don't be victims. Okay, if you need advice on how to do that, give me a call. You know my numbers. Okay, thank you all for attending. I will see you all soon next week on Ask the Unicorn. Unicorn out.